Welcome to episode 68 of the Underage Packers podcast. We are here to recap the Packers draft class and address the elephant in the room, Aaron Rodgers. I know we're all just so excited with that story. I'm Joey, one of your co-hosts. Joining me, as always, my great co-host today, Big B. How are you feeling?
Feeling good.
Some questions arousing around the Packers' upcoming season. Their star quarterback. Star is putting it lightly. Aaron Rodgers this Thursday, right before the draft. Some big news came out, I guess you could say, that he does not want to return for the Green Bay Packers. We're here to bring you the latest, our inside info, folks. So let's see what we know, because there's so much analysts, there's so much guesswork that you can do on this, but let's just get down to what we know, the reports that are out there, but what we know is true. So, okay, let's start off with this. There's a report that came out this Saturday that Aaron Rodgers wanted Brian Gutekunst fired, that it was either him or Gutekunst, and they had to choose between them. AJ Hawk is saying that is false. He spent time with him at the Kentucky Derby this past weekend. So that's a good sign. Rob Domofsky was saying that he's had no signs that is false, but I'll go with AJ Hawk over that. AJ Hawk also said some really interesting things that we'll get to a little bit later here, but kind of circling it back. It looks like he, after some contract extensions that weren't working out, everybody knows basics of the story, but he was not happy with what they were offering to him. And I think the biggest piece that I was looking for up to that point was, okay, so what extensions did he deny? And what is missing from that extension that he's possibly looking for? Is it more guaranteed money? Is it more years on the deal? Is it more personnel? Whatever. But he denied a couple of contract extensions. For some reason, Mark Murphy, Brian Gutekunst, and Matt LaFleur all flied out separately to California to meet with Aaron and his agent, David Dunn. So that's the basic. Aaron is not happy. He refused to talk about it at the Kentucky Derby, to the media at least, and he has still not addressed anything. He's not, at the very least, tweeted anything. And he said something that I have trouble buying. He said to Mike Tirico, he said that he expressed a few times how much he loves Green Bay. He loves fans. He just loves the franchise. There's just an issue between management and the reigning NFL MVP. We're just not sure how this is going to play out, is what Aaron said pretty much. And he said he was so disappointed that the news got leaked. I did not buy. I've been talking for a while about giving some news updates, but let's hear some of your thoughts, Big B.
There's just so much to unravel from this entire situation. I don't even know where to start. Mm-hmm. So let's start with Brian Gutekunst is getting fired, I guess, by Aaron Rodgers. I really just don't know about that entire thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like Aaron Rodgers is mad at Brian Gutekunst a lot more than is being talked about. I mean, he let go of Jordy Nelson, didn't re-sign Cobb or Matthews, let go of Jake Kumerow, because for some reason Jake Kumerow is a thing now back in 2021. So I think that's mostly why, I guess. And the Mike Tirico story, I feel like I think Rodgers said something along the lines of that, but I feel like Tirico put a lot more in that than he actually said. Pretty much doing what he's supposed to, being in the media.
Yeah, this is such a fight for attention from reporters. I'm not saying that it's all false, but there's like every single reporter is trying to get their own little bit. I would say the most trusted one is Domofsky. I mean, Rappaport and Schefter might have some bombs, but Domofsky's going to be closest to the situation. Like you mentioned, he was mad at Gutekunst for releasing these players that he loved or not retaining them. And that big one was Jake Kummerow.
I know, it's so weird.
And that thing that I said a few seconds ago that we go back to of a fight for attention of reporters, Aaron Rappaport phrased it as somewhat as a last straw or the final blow to Aaron Rodgers' relationship with the team in the front office.
And it's like, how long ago did that happen? Like 2 years ago?
No, that was this past
last
offseason
year?
where he didn't make the 53.
Really? That was already last year? Oh my
Mhm.
God, it feels like forever ago. All right, carry on. My argument's wasted now.
I buy, and I mean, he put it out there. He said, a day after he praises him, Jake Kummerow gets cut. I buy that he was unhappy. I have trouble believing, though, that was the final that he saw that Jake Kummerow didn't make the roster, and he said, "Oh, you guys, how could you? I like this. This is it right here." I mean, I get it, but I have, like I said, I have trouble believing that was the thing that made him snap.
And it's not like Jake Kummerow was like the third string wide receiver that year either. Like he was like bottom of the depth chart guy who, of course, didn't make the roster and got beat up by a younger, more potential player in Malik Taylor.
Exactly. And now let's talk a little bit about what this might mean for the 2021 Packers if Aaron Rodgers does not play. I guess let's first go over his options this year, because as Brian Gutekunst has stated, they are not planning on trading Aaron. If they stay true to that, even past the June 1st deadline, which I tend to think they will, Aaron Rodgers can either sit out, retire, or play for the Green Bay Packers. And there, I don't see a world where he retires. AJ Hawk said today there's zero chance he retires, even as a leverage move. But to sit out, if you're Deshaun Watson, that makes sense. If you're Aaron Donald, that makes sense. If you're Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not comparing the talent of the players, I'm comparing the ages of the players and the situations that they're in. If you're Aaron Rodgers, why do you sit out? Not only wasting a year of your 30s, but an epiphany that I just came to me. Why do you give them a chance to see what Jordan Love is? Right? I mean, why do you, like, what are you doing to your, if they're not going to trade you this year, I mean, possibly they trade you after next year, but that does not make too much sense to me. You have a great offense in here. So if it's supposed to, even if you are really frustrated with the organization, play one more year. You have the best offense in the league. Play one more year. If they're not going to trade you, I find it foolish to sit out. And that's pretty much my thoughts on what's going on right now.
And it's not, and how do I word this? Like, imagine if Brian Gutekunst saying like, all right, Aaron, we're tired of this. We want this complete. So we are not going to play Jordan Love in the preseason. We're just going to have you suit up and play both preseason games. And we'll just have Jordan Love sit the bench, and then we'll see what happens.
God.
Like that's just like the funny scenario I just thought of in my head. I don't know why I just thought of that, but I thought I should share that.
Aaron holds out of camp, and we were trying to like, hey, Aaron, we got our starting quarterback here,
Yeah. Thanks, see ya.
Yeah, the input on the personnel decisions, like AJ Hawk said today, he reiterated that he was not happy with Jake Kummerow. And you look back at some of the headlines that we've been getting ever since 2018 of him not being happy with some of the decisions they were making. I'll have this and then one more point, and then we'll get to the draft class. It goes back to possibly even Jordy Nelson. He seemed to like Jimmy Graham, and they built a special bond. It seemed even after Jimmy Graham's terrible play. But it goes back all the way to Jordy Nelson, where he's unhappy with these players that they're releasing. And look, I can see both sides. That a player is a player, and he should not have, his job is not to have input on the personnel decisions. But when he's Aaron Rodgers, it's a special situation. And when you're talking about his wide receivers, um, but at the same time, I don't think he deserves. I mean, sure, would it be nice, but I don't think he necessarily deserves anything he doesn't. Um, in my opinion, he doesn't have the right to be throwing a hissy fit over a practice squad wide receiver. And that's where it comes back to again. Look, who cares if you're mad because they release Jake Kumro or Jordan Nelson? Play one more year with this great offense.
And I'm gonna add one more thing into this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a damn who you are. You could be Aaron Rodgers or let's say Yoshi Nijman. Let's say Yoshi Nijman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you are. You're a player. You shouldn't have say in what the front office does at all. Like maybe if they're gonna, I don't know, draft a quarterback or something. Okay, I'm not taking shots. Okay, I'm not taking shots at Jordan Love or anything. I'm just saying maybe that's like the one time you call like Aaron Rodgers and say, hey, we're gonna draft this kid from Utah State or something. Of course, the Packers didn't do that, which I think was
a big part in this. Yeah,
that's a big problem with this. But
like, and I'm glad you bring that up, because that's what a lot of people have been saying is, well, why didn't you let Aaron know? Because the Tampa Bay, they're so great. The Buccaneers just so great of an organization that has managed to could have a catastrophe every year before Tom Brady came and saved them. The great organization of Tampa Bay, they let Tom Brady, the 45-year-old, know when they were going to draft a quarterback in the second round.
And like the Vikings literally came out today and said we're going to draft Justin Fields, and they called Kirk Cousins to let him know. Like, I feel like everybody now is coming out and just saying that just to stir the pot even more with Packer fans and the Packers front office to try to destroy them. I am very mad at this situation. We should probably move on before I start breaking something in my room.
Okay, one more thing. I listened to Andrew Brandt's podcast today, and he mentioned that, and he said, what is the situation like in that draft room with Aaron Rodgers in 2005 is a little bit different, and with Jordan Love in 2021, it's a little bit different. With Aaron Rodgers, I don't think they were expecting to get him at 24. But Ted, he's going to look at every possible player, and he did. And I don't think you need too much scouting to realize how great a prospect Aaron Rodgers was. He's projected number one pick. With Jordan Love, I mean, it can't resurface today. Brian Gutekunst stated it last year, but it resurfaced today that they were trying to trade up for Justin Jefferson and Brandon Ayuk. Those deals fell through, and they're like, hey, let's still get someone that we like, and that's Jordan Love. And people like to misread that as they traded up to the 30th pick, or they traded up to the 26th pick before Justin Jefferson and Brandon Ayuk were taken. No, they traded up to the 26th pick to take Jordan Love. Where I'm going with this, and what Andrew Brandt's point was how far ahead are they planning? They don't know if they're going to get this kid. But it's like, if you love a prospect that much that you thinking, he has a chance of being there, and if he is, we're going to trade out from. I mean, I do think that's something you might want to alert Aaron Rodgers about, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you call Aaron, he's like, I'm not okay with that. And you're like, all right, good talk. We'll see you at camp, So sure, they could have done better on that, especially on Mark Murphy's front, who's been through this before. Certainly could have done better on it. All right.
And I'm gonna okay. Now I'm just resurfacing something else. So like what I said earlier about like calling Aaron Rodgers, if you're gonna trade up and select a quarterback, you should call your star player. But if you're just if somebody falls to you and then you pick them, I don't think like
it's
Aaron Rodgers should know.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I mean, you
Yeah.
barely know, but yeah, interesting. A lot of questions still unanswered, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about that this offseason. Now that we spent the first 15-20 minutes talking about that,
This
let's
might this might have to be a two-parter.
let's get to our 2021 Packers draft class, starting off with the first pick. 29th overall selection and a cornerback from Georgia, Eric Stokes, a speedy 4.25 40-yard dash. I'm so excited for this. Getting a position of need. Big B, what are your thoughts on Stokes?
The man is fast. That's all. That's the first thing I'm gonna say. I think he's such. I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit of a reach, but I think it's still a phenomenal pick at 29.
Mm-hmm.
The dude matched up with Jair, I think might be one of the top cornerback tandems in like a few years. Like I hope Stokes turns out. And Andy Herman said, was it yesterday? I think that it's kind of boring watching his college tape because the quarterbacks don't throw his way, just like Jair, because he
Yeah.
was so dominant in college, and that just got me really excited.
Yeah. Another piece to this great defense with, like, if Rashawn Gary, Darnell Savage, and now Stokes, if they can all hit their stride 2 to 3 years from now, you have the best corner in the game in Jair Alexander. That is looking scary right there. And then Kenny Clark, who's only 24, 25 years old. All right. I'm getting
Rashawn
too excited
Gary,
here. Yeah.
come on. Rashawn Gary.
I mentioned him with Savage, but yeah, with the reach, it does. It's you ask the question like, are we drafting this guy just because of his speed over some other possible better corners? Got to trust the evaluation right now. In the second round, they get Corey Linsley's replacement from his alma mater, Ohio State University, Ohio State. Josh Myers. I'm pretty excited for this. I was planning on maybe a tackle in these first 3 rounds here, offensive tackle, but it all depends on how the board falls. Maybe they thought, look, it's better value to get a center right now, especially with that run of offense tackles in the 40s and 50s right before they selected. But Josh Myers is a very versatile piece in this offense. You can never have enough big boys on the offensive line. Big B, any thoughts on Josh Myers?
Well, when everybody was saying that this is a terrible pick for some reason, I don't know why they were saying that on Twitter. I was sticking up for my boy Josh Myers. I love this pick. I think he's going to be a stud. And when you have Jake Hansen as your only center on the depth chart, that's kind of scary. So
Yeah.
putting Josh Myers in there probably most likely is going to start day one. Just can't wait to see his progression in the NFL. And I'm so excited to see him develop. I think that's the same word, but I'll do it. I'll say it twice.
Yeah, especially with those first few weeks with David Bakhtiari out. If he can go in there and be a day one starter, that is absolutely huge. To possibly move Elton Jenkins out to left tackle, and then you have 2 great guards. It would be absolutely huge if he could start day one. Round 3, pick 85, my favorite pick in this whole draft, not only because I predicted it, also because he's a great player, is Amari Rodgers out of Clemson. He said earlier this offseason that he'd be very excited to play with the Packers, mainly because of Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he's not too excited now, but he fills a lot of roles in here. Tyler Ervin role, that gadget guy in Matt LaFleur's offense, also punt and kick returner. Very fast guy at just 5'9", 5'10" range. Big B, what do you think of the wide receiver coming to the Packers?
All right. I feel like I've said this about 4,000 times, but this is the first pick in a very long time that I've jumped in joy when I heard his name called. Don't know how many times I said that on here, but Amari Rodgers, I think, is worth a 3rd and a 4th round pick pretty much. Traded that 4th to move up. And he fills so many positions, like you said, the Tyler Ervin role, punt, kick returner, hopefully, and maybe the slot, move Marquez outside, put him in the slot. That would be so dangerous, and I just love it so much. And I'm so freaking excited to see number 8 running out on the field.
Yeah. Dude, when you look at his highlights, almost every single one of them reminds me of Randall Cobb winning the division in 2013. Like, he has so many of those type of plays. Maybe not on fourth down in the fourth quarter, but he has so many types of those plays where he just burns a guy. Maybe not with his speed, but just with excellent footwork and route running. So excited for him.
And I don't know what it is, but every time I see him run, he just has that movement of Randall Cobb. Like, I don't know if I'm just psyching myself out or something, but every time I watch a highlight, like him juking out or his DB, like, it just reminds me of Randall Cobb so much.
There's so many connections with him and Randall Cobb too. It's kind of weird. Like, not only are they similar players, but like there's some like his dad coached Cobb. There's a lot of different connections there, so that's really exciting. Let's get through these day 3 picks here pretty quick. Round 4, they get another offensive lineman from Ole Miss, Royce Newman. Looking at some reports today, looks like might take a year or two to be a starter, but the Packers, they love those upside picks, and they love getting day 3 offensive line steals. Round 5, they get with pick 173, they get Kenny some help with T.J. Slayton out of Florida, baby. I love those 2 picks right there.
Chunky boy that man is. He's very chunky.
I mean, he's like influxing in size from 360 to 330. He slimmed down over the draft process. I'm so excited to have him here. He seems like really athletic, even for his size. And just another body on the defensive line that isn't Tyler Lancaster.
And he's wearing Gilbert Brown's number. So he's a chunky boy and wearing Gilbert Brown's number. Like,
Gilbert Brown. I have to say, Gilbert Brown on the Cheesehead TV draft party was phenomenal. I mean,
that was great.
Like somebody said, I love to have a fireside chat with or Gilbert. Quite the character of the Gravedigger. All right, round 5. With their compensatory pick, they go with Shamar Jean-Charles, cornerback out of Appalachian State. Seem excited for this pick?
I hated how you did that. Yes, I am very excited for this pick. I think this is the steal of the draft right here. Steal of the Packers draft. Shamar is going to be a beast. I don't know if that's how you say his name, but he is going to be a stud. I promise you. You.
I'm Eric Stokes and Charles are both 2 physical corners. So excited for that. Have some nasty on this team.
And I could really see him starting at the nickel and the slot positions on the defense. I don't know day 1, but definitely progressing into the season and definitely next year if we don't re-sign Chandon Sullivan.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more depth at cornerback at this point here. Round 6, they get their 3rd offensive lineman, offensive tackle guard, whatever you want to call them. All 3 of these guys are very versatile. With Cole Van Lanen, Badger, hometown of Green Bay, Wisconsin. I mean, not only do I love every single offensive lineman pick out there, but because he's from Wisconsin, not only UW-Madison, but also growing up in Green Bay, Bayport High School, Green Bay Packers fan, Cole Van Lanen on the team, baby. Any thoughts on the Green Bay homeboy?
Well, he's from Wisconsin, so I automatically love the pick. I don't know. I just think this is such a great pick.
Dude, when's the last time a Wisconsin offensive lineman was bad? Like, you got Zach Martin, Joe Thomas, so many great players there.
And I saw somewhere saying that he could potentially probably going to play guard or something because his arms are too short, or maybe that was somebody else, but I'm pretty sure that was Cole.
Yeah. Round 6, Isaiah McDuffie,
the duffel bag, baby.
The duffel bag, linebacker from Boston College, and would be remiss. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the special teams ability of a lot of these players here. Eric Stokes, a returner, a gunner. Amari Rodgers, a returner. Then Shamar, Gene Charles, Isaiah McDuffie. McDuffie especially, I think, was almost purely a special teams pick. And then in round 7, pick 256, they ended off with a running back, and Keelan Hill, a running back out of Mississippi State. Any thoughts on those final 2 picks?
I hope McDuffie becomes a stud so I can just shout the duffel bag, because a linebacker's last name is McDuffie, and his nickname is not going to be the duffel bag. I just don't get it. What are you even doing here? So the duffel bag is his nickname. I'm gonna try to get that started, because that's a badass nickname.
Let's get that catching on.
Huh?
Let's get that catching on.
Yes, let's do it. And Hill, I don't know. I think he could potentially make the roster. I don't know. Got a good camp battle with him and Patrick Taylor, who I'm a big fan of. I'm on that Patrick Taylor hype train, choo-choo. So it's gonna be fun to see in camp.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a competition for a running back 3 on the roster, and then probably 2 camp bodies, practice squad guys. And it really seems like Kylan, whatever it is, Hill, Dexter Williams, and Mike Weber really all have similar builds. Really muscular guys. Not quite an A.J. Dillon bulldozer, but they're not elusiveness isn't their specialty. They're gonna run through a guy, kind of similar playing style to Jamal Williams, I guess you could say.
The go! Woo!
Trade for Jamal Williams.
Yes.
All right, let's do this here. Your favorite pick from each day 1, day 2, and day 3. I think day 1 might be the hardest choice for you.
Yeah. Day 1's really hard. I think I might have to go with Eric Stokes.
Ooh, that's a hot take right there.
Like the only pick that day, so I guess I'll go with Eric Stokes. Day 2, I'm gonna go with Josh Myers, and because I know who you're going with, so I'll be different. Josh Myers, stud, gonna start day 1, like we said. And then day 3, probably Gene Charles, just because I really don't know. I think it's an absolute steal. He's like the 16th best corner in college, or player in college last year, according to PFF. So I think that's going to be a great pick, and I'm excited to see what he can do.
All right. Day 1, Stokes, obviously for me. Day 2, I love Amari Rodgers. Day 3, TJ Sladen. Dude, I cannot wait to see him out there. What else do you think, Big B, as far as position wise, do you think they could have picked up in this year's draft? I'll go first here, and I'll say, I'll go with another wide receiver, also possibly another quarterback, not only for insurance, because we have no idea what how the whole Rodgers situation is going to play out, but also just because of that practice squad guy, like they always tend to have. Brian Gutekunst mentioned in his post-draft presser that he can't see them going into training camp with at least 3 quarterbacks on the roster, possibly 4. But wide receiver, you don't have anybody under contract after this year, so would love to have some other depth out there. What position do you think they could have added, Big B?
Maybe a punter, maybe. I know they have 2 on the roster right now with Scott and what's his face?
Oh shoot. That's a very good question. Yeah, they did bring in somebody at the end of the year to prevent any COVID problems.
But we all know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
But just bring in a punter, get more competition, maybe cut that guy who we're forgetting our name of, and have another young guy in there. That's probably the position, I would say.
Yeah, I do like. I don't know how much I would change of this. I'd probably prefer to get a defensive tackle lawyer, but it's like I don't know who I'd switch out. I don't think I'd trade Josh Myers for a defensive tackle in a weak class. Let's end it off here. Rookie season starters. Who do you think I'm sure once we make it to the Super Bowl, a lot of these guys will have more of a role. But who are some guys you think possibly day one will be on the Packers starting roster?
Starting roster. Well, I'm just gonna say Josh Myers because I said it this entire episode. Josh Myers coming in with a very thin center depth right there because you only have Jake Hansen. I know Lucas Patrick come over, but I'm all about that just depth, the true centers.
Yep.
Get worried when there's like only like one or two there. So I love me some Josh Myers.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Eric Stokes. I think he can pretty easily beat out Kevin Keane. And even if he doesn't, there's plenty of role there. Amari Rodgers, I was going to go with him, but a lot of times with those running backs and even wide receivers, Matt LaFleur likes to kind of hold them back. Tyler Irvin and Tavon Austin, they came pretty late in the year, but they were on the roster for a week or two before they got really adjusted to that. So it depends on how familiar Rodgers is with doing that type of stuff. But yeah.
Tyler Irvin and Tavon Austin had to learn the playbook and stuff.
Yeah.
Amari Rodgers has a whole spring yet. So
fair point.
It's also something.
All right. So that's all we got for today. It's going to be interesting, a more interesting off season than we expected. Hopefully, we're here ready to talk about Aaron Rodgers settling this disgruntlement with the Packers front office here pretty soon. But it will be an interesting and entertaining match to watch. Big B, any final thoughts here today?
Come back for our next episode because that's going to be episode 69. And it's going to be a very, very, very nice episode. If you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it's our friend of the show, David Bakhtiari's number.
Totally. Oh, yeah. What were you thinking? Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching episode 68 of the Underage Packers podcast. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a good rating on Apple, Spotify. Follow us there. And check us out on all the social medias for some great Packers content. And as always, go Pack Go.